Welcome back everyone, and it's time to go post the, and I'm gonna say it, it's been months, but it's that time. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this Boruto chapter was fire! Every single theory in our community has come true. Word for word, bar for bar.
He copied my whole fucking flow!
Number 1. The Otsutsuki God has been revealed. Number 2. Delta is Amado's daughter confirmed. Number 3. Eida and Daemon have Otsutsuki genetics, which is a new power called ShinJutsu, which all jutsu derives from.
I have no knowledge of any of this.
Number 4. Boruto's prophecy and downfall is on the way, which means Sasuke or Naruto are going to die.
You can't keep getting away with it!
Let's start from the very beginning with the bombshell Amado drops to kick off Boruto Chapter 75. He informs Naruto and the others of Eida and Daemon's abilities. Kawaki decides to test this for himself by imagining he's slapping the brat, but it's reversed on him instantly, confirming what Amado is stating is true. This makes us wonder how these abilities are even possible, since they go beyond what ninjas can do and what science can explain. Well, Amado reveals the Otsutsuki God, Shibai. Amado follows the principles of science, as he stated that he did not develop something out of thin air, which only God can do. Instead, he transplanted these abilities from an existing alien known as the Otsutsuki Shibai that transcended their normal anatomy. Shibai achieved godhood by consuming multiple chakra fruits from many planets for several millennia. Now, since Otsutsuki are parasites that take on all DNA, energy and life forms through this fruit, by consuming multiple, Shibai evolved and was able to achieve the ultimate form of their species. However, despite gaining all of this power, Shibai passed away. How, you may ask? Well, of course, by an anime-only disease, silly.
Okay.
Many characters have fallen victim to the anime disease death. There's Itachi, Goku, Hagoromo the Sage of the Sixth Path, even Naruto in the recent novel, just to name a few.
He's out of line, but he's right.
However, in a bizarre turn of events, Amado proposes that Shibai did not die. Instead, he believes it's possible Shibai, the Otsutsuki God, transcended the concept of God-like Jutsu known as ShinJutsu, where a karma seal and resurrection wouldn't even be required anymore due to his overwhelming power. This alludes to the idea of Shibai becoming a fifth dimensional being. We clearly see this being the case when Ishiki also passes his will onto Code. In chapter 55, he mentions the aspiration that every Otsutsuki tries to attain godhood, whilst displaying a panel of one who has done so. Shibai attaining fifth dimensional powers, which transcends the concept of death, would give him reason not to be a karma vessel anymore and continue to live on through his material self. Amado hypothesized that Shibai went through countless karmic resurrections, eating multiple god fruits, and after many cycles of this evolution, he finally ascended to a higher dimension where he no longer needed a physical body, meaning that he deliberately discarded his own.
I think my brain just committed suicide.
The reality is, Eida and Daemon were actually created from the DNA of this Otsutsuki God, which explains why they could fly in chapter 74. We can see that Shibai has 3 different dojutsu: the Byakugan, the Rinnegan, and even Ishiki's dojutsu. However, in his enlightened form in chapter 55, we saw him with a plethora of pure eye, implying that Boruto has most definitely attained a power that reflects the Otsutsuki God himself, which gives meaning as to why Boruto is the Star of Hope, as it gives him the ability to end their cycle of predator and prey around the entire galaxy. However, Shikamaru, using his brain, asks Katasuke to confirm if Amado's ability to transfer abilities and DNA to other humans is even scientifically possible. And ladies and gentlemen, this is when another theory of ours comes true. Boruto Chapter 75 was like a bingo card for us, because everything we have explained in the last 3 years has finally come true. That's why it's so important for you to hit the notification bell so you don't miss out and you are on the same page as our community. We learned from Katasuke that what Amado is achieving would be difficult using human technology, but in reality he is using inorganic technology that goes beyond human intellect, highlighting how the procedure is almost alien-like. Shibai, the Otsutsuki God, was able to generate storms with a wave of his hand and call forth thunderbolts with just an angry roar. These are natural disasters which should only be possible due to, you guessed it, natural forces. Yet, he was able to control them. What Shibai possessed to perform these feats was ShinJutsu, seen as divine miracles. All Ninjutsu and Senjutsu are derivatives of his godlike abilities. Therefore, in conclusion, Kawaki, Boruto, Eida, God, and Daemon have a part of ShinJutsu as their powers go beyond normal means.
मजा आया।
Now, Sarada, being proud of a ninja way, gets super annoyed in learning that everything that the ninja world produced is just a mere imitation of the Otsutsuki God ability of ShinJutsu. ShinJutsu translates to true technique, but can refer to the heart, mind, or spirit. This would make sense since ShinJutsu is an original technique where everything else is derived from. Likewise with the pure eye, the terminology used would imply that every other dojutsu is a derivative of it. This notion wasn't really a big surprise, as even back in chapter 36, we learned that the Byakugo seal which Sakura, Tsunade, and even Mito had was derived from the Karma seal. Shikamaru then moves on to the next big question on everybody's mind. How the hell did Amado get his hands on an Otsutsuki God's DNA? Getting the DNA from a dead dude at the bottom of the sea is one thing, but to get some alien space king's DNA is a little sus. Well, Amado explains that he obtained it from Shibai's corpse. Yep, his dead body. Now, for a long time, we predicted Boruto and his team to eventually face off against the Otsutsuki King, in turn establishing a new rule amongst them, steering the Otsutsuki away from the obsession to live forever. This pursuit has to undergo a process of mass sacrifice, where countless creations and planets are destroyed. Kaguya, who is still currently sealed, might be the key to convincing the other Otsutsuki after the final war concludes. Regardless, coming back to the chapter, Amado finding the corpse of Shibai on Earth means that one of the last fruits Shibai had eaten might have been from this planet. This must have been over 2,000 years ago, before Kaguya and Ishiki first arrived on Earth. Amado finally then reveals why. Why is he such a sussy baka? Well, all of the evil deeds that he conducted with Ishiki and forming Kara, it was all for his dead daughter, Akabi. Akabi? Guys, you know
shit.
I'm not good at
Here we go
pronunciations.
again.
I've been doing this for 9 years, but you should know me by now. But we first learned about this in chapter 68. And ding 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 ding! Everyone gets a pat on the back because we predicted it. After all these years, it's confirmed that Delta was his true daughter, who died of illness. This sickness was due to unknown causes, and though it might be a coincidence, it had happened 12 years ago when Boruto was born. No one had the cure for this disease, so Amado, who had already tinkered in the field of cloning, decided instead of waiting on a groundbreaking medicine, he would do away with her old shell and create a new one. After the death of his daughter, Amado had preserved her brain to successfully extract and digitize her memories into raw data, which he used to program his daughter's clone. However, sadly, even though Delta had his daughter's voice, looks, and memories, she wasn't her. The clone had a different personality and lack of consciousness, even after trying again and again. In the end, all the clones he made for Kara were his attempts at bringing her back from the dead using technology. However, Amado was never able to upload her humanity into the clones, resulting in a failure. Oh, and by the way, Momoshiki states that he believes Amado is lying about Aida's attraction ability, stating that it doesn't stem from ShinJutsu as he knows all Otsutsuki Jutsu that existed. This explains that Amado implemented Aida's attraction ability and by accident it became extremely OP because he was trying to find a scientific way to make his daughter Delta love him like his daughter did when she was alive. However, one man appeared before Amado as his savior, promising to bring his dead daughter back to life. That man was Jigen. This has been foreshadowed ever since chapter 39, when Jigen reassured Amado that everybody's wish will come true, which is when Amado takes a long look at Delta, actually picturing Akebi. Though Amado didn't know exactly how Ishiki was going to bring her back from the dead, he speculated that it might be related to the karmic resurrection process. This is why Kawaki is so important to Amado. Amado stated that the karma he implanted onto Kawaki was filled with the raw data of his daughter. He plans for Kawaki to implant this karma to another clone of Akebi so the karma can be used to extract her memories properly, as this will fall under a godlike jutsu. Now what's interesting is that Orochimaru, with all his science and biological understanding, he parallels Amado's character, as he is achieving something similar with his own son Mitsuki. He created a sentient being with consciousness but is trying to instill humanity within him by human experience and love through Boruto. That's why he is Boruto's moon. However, we Naruto fans all know that Amado's procedure shouldn't really bring his daughter back, as the memory data isn't connected to a soul. Akebi's soul is in the Pure Land, where the dead go. So likely this process will fail, and the way to bring back his daughter will have to do with Ishiki's wishing ability, or something similar to the resurrection jutsu. Okay, by the way, who's gonna tell Amado? He could have just cloned the Rinnegan and used rebirth jutsu, or Granny Chio's one's own life reincarnation ability with a clone that he could produce. That shit brought back Gaara to life. And let's not forget Madara Uchiha. Everyone knows he came back. Orochimaru managed to clone Mangekyo Sharingans and create sentient life. So why couldn't Amado choose one of those options?
That does make no sense.
Like, there's many different ways to attain what you want, to bring the soul back from the dead and bring her back to life, I'm just saying.
Now then, we've theorized on this channel for many years that this would be Amado's goal all along, and that Ishiki had the power to grant wishes for other people. Because by looking into the inspiration behind Ishiki's character, we have Isunboshi, a 1-inch tall man. In this Japanese folklore tale, Isunboshi finds Ujide no Kozuchi. This hammer is a legendary treasure and is able to tap out anything that is wished for. In popular belief, this hammer was also held by the deity known as Daikoku Ten, which, if you've been paying attention, just so happens to also be the name of one of Ishiki's main abilities. In fact, the crest on Ishiki's chest and jacket is of striking similarity to the shape of this magic hammer. Thus, we believe that a full power Ishiki would be able to grant any wish for others, hence why Amado had to find the perfect vessel for Ishiki and help him so that he could see his daughter again. However, instead, Amado became power hungry and decided he wanted full control over this ability and took Kawaki for himself. Essentially, Amado was playing God with an actual god this entire time. But with Shikamaru being Shikamaru, he wants Amado's story verified, and so he asks Eida to look back into the past to see the day Akebi died. Out of nowhere though, Momoshiki joins the chat as he explains that due to the circumstances of Boruto's revival, their thoughts now overlap with each other. He tells Boruto to keep this on the down low though, because he doesn't fancy getting his ass whooped by Kawaki again. However, Momoshiki's true reasoning for popping up to say hello is to warn us that Amado is in fact a sussy baka. Yeah guys, Don't let Amado's soppy backstory fool you into forgetting that this man is the true villain. Boruto thinks that Amado must have been lying about the existence of Shibai Otsutsuki. However, Momoshiki confirms he does 100% exist and proves Amado's hypothesis about him residing in another dimension. Meaning that ugly dude that we saw in chapter 55 is how he looks now that he's evolved into a godly 5th dimensional being that is no longer needing a physical body. However, Momoshiki's suspicions are with Eida's ability. As an Otsutsuki that has watched over planets for a millennia, Momoshiki's become pretty damn knowledgeable on all forms of ShinJutsu that exist. Yet the idea of captivating others is and never has been a form of ShinJutsu that exists. Meaning that once again, Amado has been telling porkies to Konoha. The difference is that this time, somebody finally knows he is lying, as Boruto has Momoshiki to testify against Amado's lies. The question is though, why is Amado lying in the first place? That is what Boruto and Momoshiki will now have to figure out going forward as the story develops into a back and forth of mind games trying to predict Amado's next move without even knowing his first. Back with Eida though, she confirms Amado's story about his daughter's passing at the age of 24, stating that at least those stories are true, meaning that even she has doubts over Amado, further exemplifying that the facade he's been putting up so far in the story is slowly falling away as more and more people begin to suspect him, soon leaving him with no choice but to enact on his true plan, whatever it may be. Momoshiki then takes advantage of his and Boruto's thoughts overlapping as he shows Boruto a glimpse of the future, and boy, it don't look good. Those with the notification below will know that chapter 72 heavily foreshadowed that things would turn sour as Boruto's downfall is linked to Amado's intentions, and now that we know his selfish dream is to resurrect the dead quite literally, instead of, you know, just being an Edo Tensei, he wants to play God by bringing the soul of the dead into the living, something that even he admits humans should not be allowed to do. And ever since Hinata said goodbye to Boruto, feeling like she won't see him again despite him promising to return home, but it's at that moment that we then see Momoshiki show up and call Boruto foolish, this whole scene now makes so much more sense, as Momoshiki has seen the whole outcome of this mission already and knows that Boruto is way too lackadaisical to suggest that he will come home no problem, because all of his friends are about to engage in battle. I mean, we even see Sage Mode Mitsuki for crying out loud. I mean, just look at it! Look at it! Let's go! We see Team 7 and the others rushing around the outskirts of Konoha trying to find somebody who has escaped. Shikadai states that whatever has happened here is not something a friend does, which is when Sarada shows up, signaling for Mitsuki to join up with them as he activates Sage Mode, claiming that he is really pissed off. Now, we can actually deduce a lot of information from this seemingly tiny amount. In chapter 69, Mitsuki said how he truly didn't know what he would do to someone if they tried to kill Boruto, insinuating that he wouldn't hold back and would flat out kill them. Both Mitsuki and Sarada also admitted they needed a stronger resolve and power to defeat Otsutsuki level threats, otherwise they would be completely independable. So this makes sense as to why Mitsuki is in Sage Mode in the future fighting his enemy. However, we also know that Mitsuki only pulls out the Sage Mode card to save Boruto. All of these pieces of evidence narrow it down to Kawaki that they are fighting. The question is though, why? Well, Kawaki senses Momoshiki's presence before their current mission in chapter 73. Both he and Boruto also had a pact that Kawaki should kill his brother if anything happened. This, along with the fact that Boruto is the only character we don't see in this flash forward, proves that this entire scene is from his POV. And as the shot of Kawaki is angled from above, Boruto is clearly on the floor at this moment of time, whilst Kawaki has a blood splatter on his face with his ninja tool claws active. When Boruto comes back to the present, we see him pull his hand away from his eye, the same eye that just so happens to have a scar in the near future. This scar has become one of Boruto's most iconic features, and for good reason. Kishimoto giving Boruto the scar here in this current arc, right after Amado slowly reveals his true intentions and Momoshiki teases Boruto losing everything, would be a great way to visually represent Boruto's dark prophecy beginning. Now, if you want to learn more about this, then make sure you click on this video on your screen right now.